Hello everybody, I am of course as always Big Dan, and today we are reviewing Lyle Crocodile, which released October 10th if I remember correctly. So I'm not gonna lie about this one. I went in not having a very positive outlook on it. From the trailer, it did not look good. Obviously if you've seen the trailer you'll know this. But the CGI of it just did not look good. The film looked fairly generic for a kid's film and whatnot, and it just did not look good overall. If I'm going to be honest, going into this, I thought it would end up being, with the verdict, something like a 3 out of 10, which is, well, not great. If I'm going to be honest, I was actually a little impressed by this because of the fact that it was actually funnier than you'd think it would be. Because I went to see this with Matthew and one of his friends, Millie. Um, I remember we were actually laughing throughout this thing at a lot of the jokes, which, again, this is a kid's film where, 17 and 18 years old, it's not exactly something you'd expect from us because we're not exactly children, are we? But I don't know, the film was quite funny in that aspect, so I pulled that off quite well. And the story itself, it felt rightly paced, Like it felt like it was going at the right speed, where it didn't really have any filler scenes that were just there to bump up the length of it. But it wasn't exactly too quick either. Like it made it a bit longer, but about the right length that it should have been. But the negatives for this, I may be biased about this, but because me and Matthew have obviously in the same film class, so we've seen one of the films that Javier Bardem in this film obviously is in Anton Chigurh, obviously in No Country for Old Men, and I remember one time during this film when it was like some dance scene or something with Anton, and Matthew literally leaned over to us and went, "That is Anton effing Chigurh." It's, it's like you just can't take it seriously. And it's like, I remember he actually said to us, remember, we've seen him at his best performance in No Country. We're about to see him potentially at his worst. And yeah, there's a clear difference between this thing and No Country for Old Men. And it's also just the generic naming of stuff. Like I remember there's one scene where the kid in this, Josh, ends up looking on this social media site that specializes in videos, and which, well, TikTok, even though I don't really like it, I'm gonna be honest. But in this thing, they ended up calling it a sweep, which is just, it's like we were laughing at that when it wasn't even meant to be a joke. Like I remember Millie leaning over and going like sweep. It's like you just can't take it seriously, and it's not even meant to be like a moment that's jokey. And I'll also say this about the thing is that it was just the CGI on him was just not good. He was a bit too light for a crocodile, and if I'm going to be honest, when it comes to sort of like sticking to true life, and I know it's a kids' film, but there was scenes of it that weren't too realistic. But there was also bits where you became like a little bit curious as to where it was going to go. It wasn't too predictable, so I'll give it credit there. And it was enjoyable overall. Like I'll say this about it, like it had, as I said, bits that weren't expected, and it kept you just enjoying it. And again, like we're practically adults. I asked the two, and they both did say they enjoyed it. So, it's not like it's just me who enjoyed this thing. Like, it was all three of us. The singing scenes in it, is in the score. Obviously, I know this thing was done by the people who gave the score for The Greatest Showman, but it comes through that they did that. Like, the songs in it were on point. Like, I didn't really know this was a musical, even though I should have from the trailer. But the Shawn Mendes voices did well in it. And as I said, the songs in it, they're memorable. Like you can remember them, and they're just catchy. The songs, as I said, were just well done overall. So, verdict time. I'd been stuck between two for this one, because both were around the middle. Because as I said, this thing was about an even mix of sweets and sharp stones, if you want to call it that. I wish I could give it the higher one, but overall, my final verdict for Lyle Crocodile is a 5 out of 10, middle of the road average, because I did originally think I might have gave it a 6, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it, because taking into account just some of the genericness and whatnot, and the lack of just realistic nature in some plot parts, just brought it down a bit more than it should have, I think, for us. But as I said, like, this thing was better than I thought it was overall. So while I still give an average score, it's not like when I gave Dominion a like disappointing average. It's actually kind of like a positive average, I want to say, like an enthusiastic type of average score, because just I enjoyed the thing overall, and it was, as I said, better than I thought it would. But as we also said, it just goes to show how bad the marketing was for this thing. So yeah, if anyone wants to be sacked for this film, it's the marketing team. But yeah, 5 out of 10, even mix of sweets and sharp stones. I would recommend you go see it, even though it is a 5, because as I said, it's quite funny and enjoyable overall. And I can only imagine what it'll be like for kids going to see this. Like, if we enjoyed it, imagine what it's like seeing as a kids' film. But yeah, that's all I've got to say about this one. If you enjoyed the video, of course, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more of me reviews or just general content. And I'm out. Peace.